Hello and welcome to my office. These Darwin's medicine seminars are made for strategists who work in pharma, medtech and other life science industries. They're all based on my published articles, and if you'd like a copy of this article or any of them, then email me or browse my website where you can find over 300 previous publications. And this seminar is the second in a series about adapting capabilities to the needs of a new business model. So let's begin. As I said, this seminar is the second in a series of 4, all based on the obvious premise that a firm's competitiveness depends upon having stronger capabilities than other firms. Now, if you haven't already, you might watch the first seminar now. All organisations have a complex collection of capabilities that I call its capabiliome, and that is analogous to an organism's proteome because it's what makes the firm work. As the analogy is meant to imply, a firm's capabiliome is as specific to its business model as a proteome is specific to a species. For example, the capabiliomes of a research-based pharmaceutical company and a generic company overlap only to a limited degree, just like the proteome of a human being and a banana. This isn't just an academic abstraction. In practice, it means that if your firm wants to transform its business model or improve how its current model works, then it has to modify its capabilities. And to continue that analogy, in the same way as the proteome modification involves editing genes and base pair sequences, capabiliome modification requires changes to a firm's organizational routines and its micro-foundations of those routines. I'll talk about how that is done in the third and fourth seminars of this series, but in the second seminar I'm going to address the step that goes before that, which is how to know which parts of your capabiliome you need to change. Transforming or even just improving your business model begins with a clear idea of what you want that future model to be. Now, this is easier said than done, not least because the term business model has become so loosely used and it has lost much of its meaning. To clarify your vision, it helps to think of a business model as a distinct set of strategies, structures, and activities that are often shared by many comparable companies and which is adapted to a specific habitat within the environment. Again, a biological analogue is useful. Just as a capabiliome is analogous to a proteome, a business model is analogous to a species phenotype. To guide transformation effectively and efficiently, the vision of your future business model must be specific. In the first seminar in this series, I described a framework of 26 different business models that helps you choose which business model you want to evolve into. Now, clearly, the choice of which business model to transform is critically important. For some companies, the choice is very easy, either because they have no alternative or because their leadership has made an intuitive choice. Some firms, such as those focused on rare diseases, are examples of this. Many firms, however, have multiple options and they need to evaluate carefully. In this case, their choice is driven by 2 factors. First, which business model offers the most economic potential? Second, how difficult is the transformation into that business model? Obviously, a model in the top right would be the most immediate focus, but for larger companies, transformation may involve developing not one, but a portfolio of new models. In that case, top left business models become a longer term goal, bottom right models might offer opportunistic possibilities, and the bottom left of the matrix represents the models to avoid. Once the future business model has been chosen, the next step is to design the capabiliome that it needs, and this involves thinking about 3 different kinds of capabilities. Hygiene capabilities are the abilities to do those things without which the business model would not function at all. Hygiene capabilities are paradoxical because since they are essential, all rivals within the market must have them, and then therefore they provide no competitive advantage. In other words, it's their absence that makes the difference rather than their presence. The hygiene component of the capabiliome is similar for most life science companies. For example, every business must have the capabilities for adverse event reporting or for complying with quality standards. Consequently, Even radical business model transformations don't usually require significant changes in the hygiene part of the capability, although it may involve a wider expression of those capabilities. For example, a firm attempting to transform from a model that operates only in the healthcare professional space to one that operates in the direct-to-patient markets might need to widen its hygiene capabilities in marketing compliance. Not all of these capabilities that involve essential functions or hygiene factors. For example, basic regulatory compliance is usually a hygiene factor. Gaining exactly the right approval that optimizes usage and regulatory exclusivity is a capability that is not strictly necessary to operate, and it's the basis of competitive advantage. In other words, regulatory capabilities have a hygiene element and a differentiating element, as we'll discuss in the next section. So, when considering business model transformation, first consider if the new business model implies some hygiene capabilities that the firm operating its old model does not have. But generally, hygiene capabilities are, whilst essential, the least problematic part of re-engineering the firm's capability. Much more significant are the issues of differentiating and dynamic capabilities. Differentiating capabilities are those abilities that create customer perceived value better than direct or indirect competitors. As the name suggests, their purpose is to make the firm different in a valuable way from other firms. When one firm outperforms another, this is almost always because of differences in their differentiating capabilities. Differentiating capabilities are characteristic of the business model. For some generic companies, differentiation comes from the capability to operate very efficient supply chains. Branded generic business models also require the differentiating capabilities to create and maintain levels of customer trust that outweighs their lowest price rivals. For most research-based models, capabilities in sourcing or creating new intellectual property and in translating it into a marketable product are the most important differentiating capabilities. For others, such as in oncology, the differentiating capability of market shaping is crucial. And other models, such as obligation exploiter models that I talked about in the first seminar, are characterized by the ability to create and leverage relationships with patient groups. Different capabilities work together with other capabilities. For example, research and development capabilities are of little use without market access capabilities. Equally, supply chain efficiency capabilities are only realized through pricing, tendering, and account management capabilities. And of course, no level of differentiating capabilities, no matter how good, can make up for deficiencies in hygiene capabilities. No one will ever, for example, choose even the world's best drug that is made in an FDA non-compliant factory. So, after addressing hygiene factors, the first major step in transforming the capability is the identifying of what new differentiating capabilities are needed by the new business model. Perhaps the most interesting finding in my research is that hygiene and differentiating capabilities are both necessary but not sufficient to business model development or business model transformation. There is a third class of capability called dynamic capabilities that are essential to change. Dynamic capabilities are the ability to do things that create or enable hygiene and differentiating capabilities. They're analogous to enzymes in a way, acting like catalysts for the organizational change. Dynamic capabilities are mostly found in leadership and strategic functions, and in the processes for making and executing strategy. For example, the capability to create market insight is a dynamic capability. So too are capabilities to perform market segmentation and the design of value propositions. Leadership capabilities would also count as dynamic capabilities. Compared to hygiene and differentiating capabilities, dynamic capabilities are fewer in number but more systemic in their effect. There are two very important things to understand about dynamic capabilities. First, they are largely invisible from outside the organization. Outsiders can see new products, they can see approvals and so on, but they can't see the leadership capabilities that led to them, at least not directly. Secondly, dynamic capabilities tend to be neglected by firms. Firms usually demand that their regulatory, research and finance people all have formal qualifications and professional registration in their field. Equally, they invest heavily in ensuring that their practice in those fields is leading edge. But by contrast, strategizing and leadership are often regarded as soft arts in which experience and instinct are more valuable than formal qualifications and rigorous process. I think this is wrong, by the way. Improving or transforming your business model depends heavily on dynamic capabilities, and in those rare cases where business model transformation is successful, it's almost always associated with a group of leaders and strategists who embody these rare, neglected capabilities. As our industry's sociological and technological environment change rapidly, business model development or transformation has become a focus for many industry leaders. In practical terms, this begins with choosing your future business model and then identifying the necessary changes to your capability. In this second seminar in the series, I've outlined the approach to this that is discussed at much greater length in my book, Darwin's Medicine. And in the third seminar, I'm going to drill down into how those necessary changes can be engineered. Thanks for joining this seminar. If you found it useful, then please like, subscribe and share with your colleagues on LinkedIn. And if you'd like to know more about my research into strategy or business models and the evolution of the life sciences industry, then please get in touch and I'll be very happy to set up a virtual cup of tea.